March 18th, Mike Tyson raised the Ruddock dies. If he doesn't die, it doesn't count. If he's not dead, it doesn't count.
I'm here at so we're in London Bridge, beautiful London Bridge to be fair.
Nice.
For the final press conference for Brook, Gavin, Linares, Mitchell, Selby, Gradovic, and all the undercard as well that were here yesterday. What a card, first and foremost, Adam.
Yeah, it's a fantastic card, isn't it? I mean, it was great being here yesterday with the British title fights, the Commonwealth crown as well on the line, with John Wayne Hibbert and Dave Ryan kicking off the show. But I think the world title fights is fantastic. I'm really pleased to see Kell Brook back so quickly after his win in Sheffield. Frankie Gavin, always had a lot of time for Frankie, but I think he'd be the first to admit that he hasn't made the most of his professional career. He's whipped himself into shape in the last 10 to 12 weeks, and I think he'll give it a real go. I think he's got no pressure on his shoulders. I think it'd be very interesting if he can just take Kell into the second half of the fight. I expect Kell to win, but I think Frankie will come out with a lot of credit. As for the other two, they're 50-50 fights. Lee Selby has got a real chance of pulling it off against Evgeny Gradovic. I really think so. I think Selby's got all the ability, and also he's been the distance a few times now. I think he's got the tools to get the job done, but it's going to be mightily tough. And Jorge Linares, 3-weight world champion, you don't get fighters like that over here very often. I think he's a really real class act. I think he's trained very hard for this, but he is vulnerable around the chin, and Kevin Mitchell can punch, and Kevin Mitchell's on a bit of a roll, so I think that one could go either way. I think it's a terrific card. I think we're going to get plenty of good action, upsets, and then of course the big man, Anthony Joshua. Will he get rid of Kevin Johnson? I think there's so much there for fight fans. I'm really excited about it.
Seeing all the buzz on social media, me being a media junkie, a lot of people are talking about the Kevin Mitchell Linares fight. A lot of people are not expecting it to go the distance. Is that the kind of fight that kind of whets the appetite, that one there?
Of course it is. There's a lot of power in that ring, isn't there? Kevin Mitchell throws a wonderful left hook. Linares, I've seen firsthand how hard he hits. But it's also a battle of skills as well. I think Kevin Mitchell's technical ability is underrated. You go back to the likes of the Bredis Prescott and the John Murray fights. He's and last time out again against Estrada. I think he's a wonderful box fighter, Kevin, as well. And I think Linares has proved by winning at 3 different weights, how good skill-wise he is. So I think it's going to be a mixture of skills and power. It's certainly one of the fights of the night, no question about that. Could be, in terms of action-wise, the fight of the night. But I think the most intriguing for me is Selby against Gradovic, just in terms of boxing skills and how that's going to map out. I think it's going to be very tight, but I fancy Lee Selby to pull off the win.
British boxing at the moment obviously buzzing. It has been for the last sort of 2 years, but obviously that was topped off with DeGale versus Durrell. How do you sum up DeGale's performance over there?
I think it's fantastic for James DeGale. I think he's had an up and down professional career. He's got that Olympic gold from Beijing, and in many ways that's a problem to have around your neck. There's a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure. When he turned professional, he was booed in his first fight, and I think he had real trouble. He had to come to terms with the fact his arch rival George Groves got the decision. He was farmed out a little bit, didn't really get any momentum to his career, but in the last sort of 6 to 9 months, I think he's really just found something. Whether it's the elevation to a stage like Wembley, fighting there, whether it's back on Sky, I don't know. But James got the bit between his teeth. He knew how tough this was against Andre Durrell. Durrell, very, very classy fighter, and I was around him all last week, and there was a lot of passion from him. I thought we were going to get a really good Durrell performance, and we did for half of the fight. I think James, great start, nearly threw it away in the middle rounds. There were rounds that were getting away from him. He was coasting too much. He wasn't throwing his combinations, and maybe just getting a little tired as well, but he pulled it out in the last couple of rounds, and I think James DeGale deserved to win the fight. I had him up, and I think it's a fantastic achievement for British boxing. Finally, we get the Olympic gold medalist from our shores to become a world professional champion. I hope he's enjoying every minute of it.
Carl Froch has always said, for me to return, I need something that whets the appetite, something that makes me hungry. Is Golovkin that name that's kind of whetting the appetite now? It's all over everywhere.
I think it makes everybody hungry, doesn't it? Froch against Golovkin, not one for the faint-hearted. What a battle that would be up at super middleweight, and the sort of fight that Carl would have just lapped up, I think, sort of 2, 3, 4 years ago.
That's it.
Now's a different time. He's had a year out since the big win at Wembley. That was the stage maybe to go out. He didn't get the fight with Chavez, which I think he would have won in Vegas. So now he's got a big decision to make. He's going to be 38 in July. Does he put the pipe and slippers on, come and sort of work our side of the camera, or does he take 1 or 2 more challenges? He's seen the young pup James DeGale become world world champion. He's seen the hype around Gennady Golovkin, and rightfully so, because Golovkin is absolutely superb, both as an amateur and a pro. He's the most feared man probably in boxing at the moment. So it's the sort of decision that Carl, his heart will say he wants the fight, his head might say he wants to retire. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Final question, Adam, and thanks for your time. Kell Brook obviously fights on Saturday. A certain Amir Khan fights on Friday.
Yeah.
If they both win, how far away are we from this super matchup?
I'd make it tomorrow. I think Kell Brook will make it tomorrow, and I think Amir Khan deep down will make it tomorrow as well. There's a lot of politics, there's a lot of speculation as to whether Khan might get the Mayweather fight. The fact he's made his career in America more, he sort of feels, probably rightfully so, that he's above Kell Brook at the moment. But Kell's now a world champion. He's got something that Khan probably needs to. It's a fight that has to happen. When it happens, I don't know. We're probably looking maybe at next summer now. But Khan Brook is a Froch, isn't it? It fills a big stadium. It's a fight that no one's quite sure who would win. So I think you add the sort of Quigg Framptons, you add the Joshua Prices, your Klitschko Furies. There's so many good fights out there to come up in the next 6, 9, 12 months. But I really do hope we get Khan and Brook at some point.
Okay, I did say final question. This will definitely be the final question. Obviously, you renewed the contract with Matchroom. Is it cards like this that make it a no-brainer to stay with Matchroom?
I think so. I think Eddie Hearn's done a terrific job. I think he's put a lot of really good fights on in the last few years. He can't always have 50-50 fights. Some people have criticised, 1 or 2 shows, the Hull, the Newcastle ones, as maybe being a bit one-sided. Birmingham recently, but sometimes you, as a promoter, you've got to build your guys in the right way. There's a lot of young guys out there, Callum Smiths, your Luke Campbells, your Anthony Joshuas. They can't be rushed, otherwise they're going to get themselves into problems. So we work closely together. I really like Eddie. He's got a dedication and a passion. He loves to work 24/7. We're cut from the same cloth in many ways, and I like that. And I'm very, very excited about the next few years ahead. Barry and Eddie will continue to put really good fight cards on. We'll obviously continue to push for as many really close matches as we can, and I think we're going to develop together some real stars in British boxing.